Our institutions have become corrupt. Unconstitutional agencies are infringing on your rights. Your liberty was secured by strong men and women of yesterday. We live in the age of disinformation and corporate propaganda. You're an American, born with unalienable rights. Yet those rights are being trampled every day by unelected busybodies. Welcome to the Dangerous Info Podcast with Jaymz and Outcast. Dangerous. Stay blessed in the battle.
How could anyone fly a 60-ton, 125-foot wide, 44-foot tall plane through this obstacle course?
The aircraft, before striking the Pentagon, reportedly executed a 270-degree downward spiral, and yet Hani Hanjour was known as a terrible pilot who could not safely fly even a small plane.
No seats, no luggage, no bodies. Nothing but bricks and limestone.
The official explanation is that the intense heat from the jet fuel vaporized the entire plane. Flight 77 had two Rolls-Royce engines made of steel and titanium alloy and weigh 6 tons each. It is scientifically impossible, but 12 tons of steel and titanium was vaporized by jet fuel.
We're also told that the bodies were able to be identified either by their fingerprints or by the DNA. So what kind of fire can vaporize aluminum and tempered steel and yet leave human bodies intact?
From my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. And as I said, the only pieces left that you can see are small enough that you could pick up in your hand.
Shortly after the strike, government agents picked up debris and carried it off. The entire lawn was covered with dirt and gravel, so that any remaining forensic evidence was literally covered up. The videos from security cameras, which would show what really hit the Pentagon, were immediately confiscated by agents of the FBI, and the Department of Justice has to this day refused to release them. If these videos would prove that the Pentagon was really hit by a 757, most of us would assume the government would release them.
Broadcasting from a secret location near Detroit, Michigan, Jaymz and Outcast are on the run, exposing the plans of the technocratic overlords and their political hand puppets. Stay safe out there, brothers. You're listening to the Dangerous Info Podcast with Jaymz
and Outcast. Oh, yes, everybody. Welcome to another Monday night. This is Monday, June 9th, 2025. Welcome to the spiritual and the cultural battle of our lives. Truth is dangerous and information is a weapon. Welcome to the Dangerous Info Podcast, where we'll be talking about politics, culture, survival and preparedness in this crazy world, you guys. You know, there's a lot going on. Current events is off the charts right now. Hey, you guys, we are trying to build our Instagram and our Facebook following. Also, please, if you want to buy us a little coffee, you can do that too. Just down there on the description, you can see Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to support the show just a little bit, you can do that. If not, go check us out over on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Dangerous Info Podcast. Hit that follow, like, bell, subscription, all that stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. And hello to all the podcast audio listeners listening wherever you are right now in the future. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I see all you guys in the chats. You guys are making your way to your seats. I dig it. Can't wait to get into this one. We're having a good one tonight. Tonight we have a big show, you guys. Episode number 211 with Charlie Robinson. This is the Octopus of Global Control. You'll understand what I'm talking about in a little bit. When Charlie gets on with us tonight, I'll tell you what, these chatters going to light up. Outcast, aren't they? What's going on, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me. How you doing?
Good to have you all the time, every week, brother.
I appreciate it very much.
I'm doing good. I just want to let everybody know, just before we get started here, we have a lot of storms in high wind coming through the area right here in southeast Michigan. So we lost power about an hour ago, 2 times. Luckily, I've got this system set up on a backup power unit, but I don't know what that does about the Wi-Fi signals and all that stuff. Even though I'm plugged in with an Ethernet cable, we're just going to play it out and run with it as we go, Outcast. So that's what it is, and that's how it's going to be. You know, I'm just going over some of the show notes, and there's a lot of them, and we'll probably never be able to get to them all. I know that. But there's so much going on, brother. It's just, I'm trying to think back in time when maybe before the election, right? Before the selection process came up, maybe then we had a lot of current event stuff, just a lot of high strangeness at the same time. So, what are you seeing on your end? I was not in town this weekend. I was trying not to pay attention to any of the current event stuff, even though it crept in, but you were in town. What's your thoughts on that?
I was doing the same thing. I was doing some chores around the house all weekend, and I tried not to look at it, but I kept looking at it. Periodically I'd pick up my phone and I would see evidence of it. And I thought, man, I kept thinking of you last week. You were talking about how you don't turn on the TV and you live a peaceful life. You walk in your backyard and it's beautiful. And that's what I kept trying to tell myself. I'm like, don't let this suck you in. It is a non-stop psyop. And interestingly enough, I told you I watched a HBO movie that they're pumping hard. They're playing it around the clock, it seems like. And it's got Steve Carell in it from The Office. Mm-hmm. And it's called, what is it called? Mountainhead. And it's 4 billionaire tech giants on a weekend getaway together. But inevitably, they're not relaxing. They start talking about controlling the world. And through the whole movie, they're picking up their phones and there's riots going on and cities burning down, and they're like, it's no big deal because we control everything anyways, and what's what we're going to do. I mean, it is a remarkable. I don't want to spoil anything about the movie, so I'll stop pretty much there. But it is a remarkable. What's the word I'm looking for? Predictive programming film. If I've ever seen one, it is timely. I don't know when they made it in 2025. I don't know if it was the beginning of the year or when, but it's timely right now. And they are talking post-human apocalypse, essentially. Steve Carell's character has cancer, and he's ready to be have his consciousness downloaded into the internet to live forever. So he's gunning to position the world so we go to transhumanism quicker than one of the other characters. It's right in the movie, dude. It's sort of a dark comedy. It's messed up, but it's worth watching. I would definitely say watch it, and it applies to what's going on. Anyways, I watched that movie this weekend, and then I see the country's burning at the same time as I'm watching them. I'm like, whoa, this is
not the
crazy.
country.
I'm sorry,
not the country yet.
Not the country yet, but it's coming. No,
the cities, the cities are going crazy.
The
blue
cities are burning.
Wow.
I don't know. Like you said, it is. Like I said, it's a nonstop psyop. If you don't look at it, you're going to be happy. If you look at it, you're going to be really concerned with humanity. Oh, another little aspect that I'm not ruining the movie, but another interesting aspect is they're talking about AI and fake videos. So every time there's an extreme riot scene in one of these cities, they would clip over to the news, and the news would say, everybody's alarmed, but this is not real. This is confirmed AI. This is not a real riot.
Oh man. We're approaching that time in history now, where that is. I mean, you'll see in some videos I'm going to play up here in the break how close we actually are to that. I mean, it's already fooling our older generation. They have no idea that what they're looking at is AI. And I'll tell you what, it's getting even better. No more that you see the 6 and 7 fingers and the the goofy eyes and everything. They got the faces and the hands down pretty good now. We're starting to fool a lot of people. That's where I was always able to get, tell the difference right there was the face and the hands.
One last statement about that movie too. I was grateful to the movie because it created a format for dialogue with my wife. My wife is not dialed into this stuff like I am. She's tuned out from media altogether. So the movie, she was like, "What are they even talking about?" So we would stop the movie and I would explain, well, they're referencing this and this is actually happening. You think about it with the AI. It was just a year or two ago that we saw these movies come out that were really amazing, but you could tell it was AI. But now it's like you said, it's learning so fast. It's it's coming on quick, man, and it's going to change everything. And I don't even know what we're going to do. I don't even understand.
It's crazy, man. It's there's going to be some detection, some AI detection services that pop up. I know that, but I just don't know, when are we going to see all these things, So again, we're going to see it, watch it take its course. And again, you were talking about predictive programming in that show and all that stuff. Well, to me, it sounds like you're talking about the show Idiocracy, which has a lot of that stuff in there too. And that was from 2006. So, again, Hollywood, and all these people, they have to project what they're going to put on us in the future. So I want to read something that they did to us way, way back then. Now, I'll probably get hit hard somewhere on YouTube or, Facebook. We're not running on Facebook. It didn't spool up. I don't know what happened, but Facebook didn't spool up tonight. We still are running on Rumble and Twitch and Pill.net and YouTube. So, and BitChute. So don't know what happened to the Facebook connection. They probably hate us already. So, let's go over here and I want to read something to you and get your let me switch this off. Get your opinion of this. And I did this a few weeks ago with something else, and I'm sure the chatter's going to chime in a bit here. So here we go. Check this out. Operation Do 1 and Do 2, 1951. Operation Do occurred between 1951 and 1952 along the coast of the United States, specifically in the vicinity of Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. This operation comprised two sets of trials known as Do 1 and Do 2. That's DEW. The experiments involved releasing 250 pounds of fluorescent particles from a minesweeper stationed off the coast. Operation Do 1 was documented in a U.S. Army report referred to as Dugway Special Report 162, dated August 1st of 1952. The primary objective of Operation Do was to investigate the behavior of aerosol-released biological agents. It encompassed a series of 5 distinct trials between March 26 of 52 and April 21st of 52. The objective of these trials was to assess the feasibility of maintaining a substantial aerosol cloud released offshore as it drifted over land, therefore achieving extensive area coverage. Zinc cadmium sulfide was employed during the test, released along a line spanning approximately 100 to 150 nautical miles, located 5 to 10 nautical miles off the coast of Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, clearly putting their own citizens at risk of contamination. Now, 2 of the trials disseminated clouds of a zinc cadmium sulfide covering expansive areas within all 3 states. The impact of these tests extended over an estimated 60,000 square miles, Outcast, in the populated coast region of the southeastern United States. The release during Operation Do 1 were executed from the USS Tercel, a Navy minesweeper. Do 2 comprised the release of fluorescent particles and lycopodium spores from an aircraft. A 1953 Army report documented the details of Do 2. However, the report remained classified until 1997, where there was a report of a U.S. National Research Council, which focused on the U.S. Army's zinc cadmium sulfide dispersion program from the 1950s. Our government loves us, don't they?
Yeah. They do everything for the greater good of who, I don't know, but
Operation Do and Operation Do 2. Do 1 and Do 2 from 1951, you guys. Go check that out for yourselves. Remember, everything I say here is just a conspiracy theory.
For entertainment purposes only.
That's right. And go get your vaccinations and all that stuff. Wild, brother. Hey, listen, just a few things we're going to try to go over tonight. There's a lot of them. Big, beautiful bills? Nope. Eugenics, depopulation? Sanitized information? How about all that Canadian smoke? Where was all that smoke in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s? Where was all that, Outcast, where was all that smoke back then? Why today? Why now? There's so much smoke coming over top of us.
Because the smoke correlates with how close we are to reaching UN Agenda 2030. The closer we get, the more burning that has to take place. The more burning that takes place, the more apt they are to get people in their smart cities. That's my take.
There you go. I like it. Trump and Elon, they had a big giant mudslinging contest, a jello wrestling contest, a bubble blowing contest. Was it all fun? We're going to get into that too, because there's so much behind all that stuff, you guys. There's it's color revolution season again. I love it, right? It's just like a flashback going up back to 2020. I don't want to get too much of it out there because I know our guest tonight, Charlie, is probably going to want to talk about it and jump in the mix too. So I'm trying not to get too far into too many things, but I'm just laying all these things out on the table tonight. Eugenics, depopulation, if I didn't say that already, but that's like a backbone behind of all of what's going on, you know, and these people out there, they're very, very cunning. They're using ancient techniques on us. They know what to do. They know what triggers. They know exactly what they're doing to its population. It's almost like we are the cattle and they're the ones that are closing the fences at night. It's a lot of fun, Outcast. these kind of episodes that we do, they can tend to bring you down, you guys, and just don't let it. If we don't get stuck down in the muck and the mire of what they want us to be stuck into, we're going to be more free-minded of that, right? So again, I'm just trying to put it out there. Look. We're showing you a lot of things tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're not going to tell you how to think. No, we're not going to tell you what to think, Outcast. We're going to show you ways of thinking about what they're presenting to us. Okay, that's how this show started. Just trying to show you guys a different way of what people are trying to do to us. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just telling my wife the other day, or this morning, we were talking about some stuff that was going on, and I just said, listen, at the end of the day, you have to step back with that 10,000 foot view, and you have to see how it correlates, how what you're hearing in the news might tie into the globalist agenda, which is ironically in the book of Revelations for one world government, one world currency, all that stuff. Everything that happens that is wacky and weird and conjures fear in you, you have to step back and say, how does this correlate to their end game? And part of the equation, we've said it before, is how invested you become. When you get sucked into it and they feed off your fear and your anxiety, you're in the game. You just step back in the matrix. If we step out of it, look back, look at it and say, how does this correlate to their agenda? You are less affected by it. And the more people that do that, I think the more their plans kind of backfire on them, or I hope anyways. That's kind of my goal. Yeah. My hopeful thinking. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Am I out of league there, or does that make sense?
No, I like it. It makes sense. And you know, what was her response to all that after you were, explaining some of this stuff?
She was like, oh, because I'm trying to think what of the many topics, the PSYOP topics this weekend, but it was something that came up this morning. And I said, well, and she said, she got quiet, and I could tell she was thinking about it, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because otherwise you're left wringing your hands going, oh no, what is happening in the world? It's like, well, I'll tell you what's happening, but we can't be invested in it. We got to just step back and not let our emotions get involved. They feed off that. They can tell somehow, whether through the black mirror that we hold in our hands, somehow they know if we're buying into it or not. Yeah. And anyways, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I mean, they like you always bring it up, of putting things out there, see how they respond and getting the information back that they need. And that is a technique that they do. I mean, that's straight up military information right there. I mean,
look how fast AI can process that data now.
Oh, almost instant. You know what? It's instantaneous is what it is. That's how, it's just going to get faster, dude. I'm telling people right now, stay human. Sometimes we're going to have to put this stuff down and go all back and play with the chickens because this stuff is going to get to you, and we got to find some solutions to shield ourselves from what's coming in this crazy world. Remember, like I said, it's low tech is going to be high tech in the end. So, I'm just going to say, try to get yourself as low tech as you can as we move forward. You can enjoy some of these high tech things that we have going on, but make sure you have a low tech system that you can rely on to cook, to protect yourself, take care of your family, your neighbors. Make sure you have those connections that you're going to need, because I'm telling you what, Outcast. Oh, and stay out of the big cities, because those big cities going to be a mess. How many times have we said it? We've had shows in the past about what was this the insurrection like 2 years ago. There was that one big show we did where I had the artwork and I had a bunch of people climbing the fences trying to get over here. I think it was insurrection something. I can't remember, but just think out of the box as we get going in the future.
Yeah, and just like any other type of preparation, if you're going to prep for food or prep for whatever scenario is coming down the pike, prep your soul and stay dialed into the Lord, because He's going to give you the wisdom and the discernment to navigate this storm. Right? If there's anything that's going to help you get through this, it's going to be your relationship with Christ, because the psyop is going to be strong. I mean, the delusion is going to be big. They're going to rattle us, and with AI on their side, AI can help them, formulate a plan more pinpointed than ever before to affect us, and we can't allow that to happen.
Yeah. I see Fire Doug is down in the chat. Fire Doug, he's in the Rumble chat. He says, Jesse, we also did a show about the gray man theory on this. Yeah, I would also put that into that. Thank you, Fire Doug, for saying that. Yeah. Gray man stuff. You go back and look at how to be a gray man, gray woman, how to blend in with your surroundings and stuff. Obviously in this LA thing that's going on, which is going to be expanded on June 14th. They're going to go to a whole bunch of other cities with this no kinks thing that they're doing. We'll probably get into that tonight too. But blend in. Sometimes you're going to have to blend in with certain situations in order to get through that situation and make your way out. Sometimes, always the best way to not be in a bad situation like that is don't be around at all. Get out of there. Get out of that area. So I know that we have people, I'm thinking off the top of my head, who was over in LA right now. Okay, that's one of our friends. I think Richard. Isn't he over there?
Richard Sanchez. Yes, he is.
Yeah, we should have got an update from him, see how he's doing, how he's faring.
Yeah, because, we probably could. I haven't talked to him in a minute.
Well, give him a text here in a little bit, and maybe you can give that a shot. But listen, brother, why don't we get a prayer in, and we're going to take the break here in just a few minutes while we wait for our guest Charlie to come on and get into the chat room. So let me see. Hold on just one second. I will be, you guys, today. I'll be checking the Rumble pills. Or the Rumble rants, the gold pills, and also super chats over on YouTube. If you guys have any, send them over here our way, and we will get those up. So, Fire Duck, thank you. He said you may have to blend in as a rioter if needed. Wear black bike helmets, face coverings. Yeah, you know what though? What I'm not seeing in this riot stuff right now, and is it surprising to you, Outcast, that I'm not seeing a lot of pictures of Antifa or Black Lives Matter? It's something different this time. It's something different. I am seeing all the bricks again, though. All those bricks are expensive, you guys. I'm telling you, there's no builder that's going to be leaving pallets of bricks all over the place. No, he's going to take them back to his shop or use them for the next job or whatever. Those bricks are expensive. I'm telling you.
Those bricks are proof positive that this is a color revolution, and that's exactly what Obama did in Egypt, what they did in Libya, what they did in Syria. This is a manufactured. And then the media is going to do their part by pumping the same imagery over and over again. If I see the same video of bricks hitting those cop cars down below, again, I mean, that is the same footage
off the bridge.
Yep. Now, what's interesting here is just in Michigan, several years ago, some kids threw a rock off a bridge and killed somebody.
I remember that. A woman.
And they put those kids. No, I think there was a guy that died too. Maybe there's a guy and a woman. Wasn't there a guy coming home from work and his?
It could have been. Yeah,
those kids, they threw the book. They threw the book at those kids, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching bricks being thrown off an overpass onto cops' heads. Come on, man, we are watching high drama. It's part of me just smells a psyop just on this footage alone that we're seeing. I mean, I don't know.
We're seeing it all over again. Okay, it's like I don't know the people who were. Not around in 2020 to see what was going on after the the George Floyd stuff. Well, to me, this is going to be George Floyd 2.0. You know what I mean? It's a big. And the president down there, the Jewish president woman of Mexico, she's down there fueling all this stuff too. She's like, get back up there, take your land back, and all this stuff. So it's going to be a lot of craziness to see. And there's at least 500. Military personnel on scene now. So we're getting a little bit closer. What's your thought?
Just random thought of the day. I reject all these premises, and here's why. If Mexico and socialism in Mexico was so wonderful, why do all the immigrants want to be here? I know. Let's forget the conversation about who was here first. Why do you want to be in this country when where you came from is so wonderful? Can somebody explain this to me?
Well, they're
Why?
getting paid,
Why
brother.
do you want to turn it? Or I know they're being paid. I'm just saying the
You
argument.
know,
I
it's a good
reject the
point.
premise of the argument.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a great point to ask normies about. You know, say, hey, listen, normies, just like you, presented just like that. So why not stay in your own country where you say it's so great, but you want to come over here because your Jewish president said, come on over here now.
Mm.
And
like you said, these people are being paid for sure. I mean,
oh yeah, there's a lot of payments going back and forth. And it's just oddly strange to me that we're not seeing a lot of Antifa BLM types over there in this one. This is more of the Mexican, the La Raza kind of stuff is going on over there. So I don't know if we get a chance to get a hold of our friend over there in LA, Richard, maybe during the show, we can get some information from him if you want. But right now, brother, let's take a break. Let's get your prayer. Then we'll go over to the breaks and get Charlie on.
Dear Heavenly Father, Adonai, El Shaddai, Elohim, Jehovah Rapha, Lord, we love you and we worship you and we praise your name and we thank you for every gift and every blessing that you've bestowed upon us. We thank you for the protection that you've offered us in our lives and your hedge of protection and everything that we do, promising us that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to even approach your throne, and we come with our heads bowed because of your majesty and your greatness. But we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who is not just fully God, but also fully man, making him our brother, our sibling. And we thank you for that he cares for us as siblings, as he petitions you in the kingdom of heaven on our behalf. Lord, we thank you for his blood sacrifice on the cross and his resurrection from the dead, and the fact that he conquered the grave and tore the veil and gave us access to you, Lord. This is a huge thing that we are able to have relationship and communication directly with you, God. And we thank you for being intricately involved in our lives in every aspect. We thank you for every bit of wisdom and discernment that you've offered us. And we thank you for revelation, just revealings all the time of what's actually going on in the world, helping us to see a bigger picture, bigger than ever before, bigger than our parents or our grandparents could see. We feel like we can see more than ever. And we thank you for that revelation, Lord. We thank you for the opportunity to do this show. We thank you for Jesse's hard work, not only in his day life, just doing his job, but he also puts equal time practically into putting the show together. And then he reaches out to people and they graciously want to come on the show and bless us with their knowledge and their insights. Charlie Robinson is no exception to that, Lord. You have gifted him with a brilliant intellect and insights, a brilliant way of looking at things. And Lord, we're so grateful that he's willing to come on our humble little show and share his ideas with us, Lord. We thank you for him, and we pray that you'll anoint not just Jesse and myself and Charlie, but every one of our listeners. Help everyone to discern truth. Help us to hear things, words and ideas that are stimulating to our faith and our thought processes, and help us to weed through the muck and the mire that is the disinformation that this world is made up of this time and now that we live in. Lord, we know that the devil is the author of confusion. We can see it every day, but it is heating up like never before. We have no idea what is real and what isn't. We have no idea what the motives are behind the people who are the big players in the world. We are left to just rest in you and rely on you for wisdom and discernment and insights, Lord. And that's what we're asking for every day because it is mucky and it is dirty down here. But we know that you will help even the humblest of people do great things in for your kingdom, Lord. And we want to be those humble servants to you. We are yours. We were bought with a price, with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. So we invite you to have your way in us, not only in this episode, but in each and every single day that we are out there in the world talking to other people. Lord, we know there's people out there that are struggling with depression and anxiety, fear and worry, financial issues. They're trying to look into the future, and it's making them worried. Lord, I'm praying that every person out there starts to just incline their heart towards you, that they just get on their knees and they seek you, they seek your mercy, they seek your forgiveness, they seek your wisdom, they seek everything that you have to offer them, Lord, to stop trying to control their future, but rather rest in you. Lord, we pray for anybody out there that's dealing with maybe a difficult divorce, anybody out there that's dealing with an addiction. Lord, you are the chain breaker. You break the chains of our addictions, break the chains of our idolatry. You break the chains of our ingratitude and our pride. You break the chains of everything that holds us back to living a fuller and better life. But we know that you can break every chain, Lord, and we ask you to loose us here on earth as we'll be loosed in heaven, and bind up those things that seek to derail us from our walk with you as they'll be bound in heaven. Lord, we pray that you'll give us strength and authority over the evil one who tries to trip us up and watches us so meticulously, just waiting to find a way to derail us. Lord, we pray that you will give us a clarity of mind to be so focused on you that he will give up trying to do this to us. I know he probably won't, but that he will tire and move on to somebody else. Lord, we just want to be as close to you in our walk as possible. Help us to purge the sin in our lives that we repeat over and over and over again. Help us to conquer it once and for all. Lead us into the desert as you led Jesus into the desert to be tempted, only to strengthen ourselves, to harden us like you harden steel by taking us into that realm of discipline and teaching us that we are stronger than we think we are against the things that we call the flesh here, Lord. Lord, we pray that you'll anoint this episode. You'll anoint every listener out there that's listening in tonight. May they test everything we say against the Spirit and come up with their own conclusions and their own ideas. I hope that everyone in earshot knows that they are loved not only by you, but by us, and that you have great things in store for them if they just lean into you a little more every day. We love you, Lord, and in Jesus Christ's holy, precious name, I pray these things. Amen.
All right, brother. Amen. Thank you so much. And we'll get back on the other side of this, you guys. This is Dangerous Info Podcast. We'll be back in just about 2 minutes. Be right back.
Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette. And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
It's June, Pride Month.
It's also Men's Mental Health Month.
But no better time than now to let your junk hang out at the parade.
Jackie joins us live at the Pride Fest.
We're here live at Identity Fest, where sausage parties meet Scissor Central.
Today I'm a pan-dimensional soul fox identifying as a pansexual.
Stunning and brave. Back to you, Erica.
What a powerful way to honor Men's Mental Health Month by not mentioning men at all.
That's right, Erica. In other news, parents who don't give their kids puberty blockers are going to jail. We go live to Tammy, reporting from the front lines of mental illness.
We're here with a parent who listened to the Jewish community. What inspired this journey? He said he wants to be a girl. That's so courageous.
Wow. That's not gross at all.
No, it's really not. And now for the weather.
Artificial clouds forming over the Pacific, heavy aluminum particulates incoming with scattered bursts of direct energy interference. Could be another Lahaina. Stay alert.
Wow, climate change is wild today. Good thing Newscomb emptied the water reservoirs. Wouldn't want people putting these fires out.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing. But just don't take it from me. Listen to the voices of unvaccinated Americans who are lying in hospital beds, taking their final breath saying, if only I'd gotten vaccinated. If only. It's a tragedy. Please don't let it become yours.
We demand better science. If you believe these fake Blue Origin reptilians went to space in their fancy penis rocket, you're a special kind of normie. Come on, people. We deserve better psyops. You're listening to Jesse, James, and Outcast, right here on the Dangerous Info Podcast. Oh, good.
All right, you guys, if you ever get the feeling that your government is out to get you, well, they are. And tonight, our guest, Charlie Robinson, is about to uncover the centuries-long plan for world domination by these psychopaths that are running the world. Like us, he laughs at how insane it all is, but he has ideas on how to foil he knows how to foil their plans, is what I'm saying. On his podcast, Macroaggressions, with Charlie Robinson. He's also on Twitter X at Macroaggressions. Now listen to this, you guys. Charlie is also an author. The author is of the book, The Octopus of Global Control, a controversial nonfiction book detailing how those in power are able to manipulate society for their benefit, why they believe what they are entitled to impose, their warped worldview of reality on mankind, and how we can break free from their grip. This book tackles topics such uncovering as the deep state, false flag terror events, the media's role in manufacturing wars, the 9/11 deception, the frauds of central banking, our broken education system, the use of religion to shape society, and the corrupted medical industry. You guys, there's so much with Charlie tonight. Welcome to the show, Charlie Robinson. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to join you guys. That little intermission was perfect. It kind of let me know exactly where we're going tonight, and I love it. So thanks for having me, guys.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a fun ride, and there's so much. I mean, I was very vague on the intro there when we first came in, talking about the topics that we're going to go over, and we'll bring them up in a little bit. But I got to tell you, Charlie, I've got your book right here, and you guys got to get this book. It is The Octopus of Global Control, and to me, Charlie, the last few years, this is almost like a handbook, especially over the weekend with all the news that came out. I'm like, wait a second. What's going on here? Oh yeah, it's right there. This is what they're doing to us. This is the operation they're running. It's a good book. It's like a handbook that you need to battle the deep state and to understand what the heck is going on. So Outcast, I'm going to have to get you one of these too. It's really good. So Charlie, we had a little discussion earlier just before the show, us three, and we're glad to see you here and glad to have you back on the show.
Well, I'm glad to be here. And if you guys are in that Octopus book, the thing that makes it unique is that it's the format. There's 700 quotes from 500 different people who had a front row seat to some of the most important events in world history. And what's interesting is that when you hear it in their words, it does something different to you. Now, I could go on and write about how I feel about the New World Order and whatnot, global government. And I do. It's in the book. I mean, obviously my voice is heard. But when you hear that George H.W. Bush mentioned the New World Order over 200 times in his 4 years as president back in the late 80s and early 90s, then you start to realize that all this conspiracy theory that people talk about, like it's all theoretical. No, this is conspiracy analysis. We're not theorizing about potential conspiracies, though there are some, and it's fun to do that. We don't need to. This is analysis. This is when David Rockefeller writes in his autobiography, my family and I have been accused of being industrialists, internationalists, and that we seek to create a world government. If these are the charges, then I stand guilty and I'm proud of them. And you go, wait a second, was this David Rockefeller drunk one night, like talking to his buddy? No, it's page 405 of his autobiography. I mean, they write it in there. So some of this information is out there. It's not me saying, I think this guy or I think these families are plotting something. You can just read the books that they write. They'll tell you what they're going to do. It's only hidden to the extent that people don't go out and look for it. But once you go out there and look for it, it is literally everywhere you look. It's on, every speech they give, they talk about the New World Order and this and that. And you go, am I on drugs here? I mean, isn't it supposed to be a secret that they're not supposed to be talking about it? They can't help themselves. They have to talk about it. So, and that's part of how the book came about, was that I just wanted to hang these people with their own words. And it's so easy to do once you get in there. I sort of described it as verbal judo, where you use the weight and momentum of their words against them. You take something that they said. It's one thing if I come out and say, I think you're a globalist, lunatic, blood drinking alien. That's fine. But when they're admitting to a bunch of this stuff, that's all you have to do, is just show their own words. And then people say that and they go, is this real? This seems like it can't be real. And you go, it's very real. They wrote it. Or would you like to watch the video of Hillary Clinton talking about this? Or insert politician, industrialist, whoever. They're all on camera. They've all been in front of cameras for 50 years talking about their plans. And so it's out there. And what I did was I just compiled it. I just put it in one spot where you can find it all at once. So it's a thick book. Like as you held up, it's a fat book. You would be surprised how easy it is to read because of all the quotes that are in there. And if you're not really interested in reading or you can't read, you want to go get the audiobook, go get the audiobook because the audiobook is there. We put that out in 2024.
Awesome. Tell the people where they can get the audiobook, because I have the real one right here. And like you said, I mean, it's very easy to read. You can flip around, look at these headlines, and just like your mind is blown on every page. You're like, yep, I knew about that a long time ago, and I still got called a conspiracy theorist about that. So where can people find your book, the audiobook, and everything?
Yeah, in paperback, the book is available on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com. If you want to get the audiobook, it's available at Amazon, Audible, Spotify. Spotify syndicates out to a bunch of other companies that I'd never even really heard of that do audiobooks. So wherever you want audiobooks, you can just look for the Octopus of Global Control. It's out there. We did the audio for that in 2024. I had the guys from Grimerica in Canada do it. My thinking was, I'm about to deliver some really bad information to people, so I want a very nice Canadian voice to do it, so that it'll sound soothing and kind of disarming as you're being told about the digital prison closing around us. So check it out. It's 23 and a half hours of an audiobook. So it's
awesome.
There's a lot there.
Well, if those the Grimerica boys are doing it, it's probably got to be pretty good. Outcast, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just taking it all in. Charlie, I got a question. This might be a softball kind of question, but I'm just curious. When was your wake up? How did you get zeroed in on truth and of what's going on in the world? What happened to you?
So it was incremental, of course. It wasn't like I woke up one day and I was interested in everything. It was, I lived through 9/11, not in Manhattan, but in Manhattan Beach, California, and watched it like everyone did. And I didn't understand it at the time. I'd be lying if I said I had it all figured out. It took about 2 years until they started to sell the Iraq war. They were like, well, we have to go get Saddam Hussein. And everyone's like, well, why is that? They're like, well, 9/11.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? I know, 9/11. So he did 9/11 now? I'm confused because I thought it was the guys in the cave. And so when that story fell apart, and then we went into Iraq with the, Colin Powell holding up the vials and doing all that, I was like, this is so fake. We want to go into Iraq. Let's invent a reason to do it. And then they worked backwards from there. And so after that, and that made me, when they used 9/11 as the justification for it, they didn't do it a ton, but they did some of it. It was kind of a half-hearted attempt, but just the fact that they tried to use it at all made me think, well, what about 9/11 then? Because you guys are clearly lying about the Iraq stuff. Do we have problems with Afghanistan as well? Oh, apparently we do. Wait, the justification for Afghanistan was 9/11. Okay, what was going on in 9/11? And then you find out a third building fell, and you're like, hang on a second.
Yep.
Wait a sec. And so that is how it works, I think, for everybody. I mean, in my case, it was 9/11. For people older than me, it'll be JFK. For people that are younger than me, it might be COVID.
Yep.
But whatever it is that gets you to the party, you start this process of going, if this is a lie, what else is a lie? And it leads you sort of down this rabbit hole, as they say. And it really kind of doesn't matter where you start. You pick a topic that is personal to you, that's meaningful to you. Later on, a couple years later, this whole time, like from 2003 to 2012, I was living in Las Vegas and working in new home sales. I was in real estate, and the market went up and the market went down and it crashed. And I made a lot of money on the way up and lost both my houses on the way down. And I was in it. I was working in it. I was living in it. I was as in it as you could be, and I couldn't see it. And I knew things were overheated, but I thought maybe they'll taper off. Maybe, I didn't think there was going to be a crash. And when it all happened, I just felt like the sucker playing 3-card Monte. You know what I mean? Like you just like, how am I not understanding this? And so then I thought, well, I need to, and I work in real estate, and I didn't really understand the mechanisms of mortgages either. You know, I knew a little bit about it. And I knew that our in-house mortgage lender was like, we don't really care about these. You know, I'm like, you're going to approve this guy for a loan? He shouldn't be buying a house. You're like, we don't care. We're not going to sit on this loan for more than 48 hours after we close on it. It gets repackaged and sold off to somebody else, and then it gets put in a mortgage-backed security, and it's not our problem anymore. But I realized it's a time bomb stuffed in a bag with a bunch of other time bombs, and you don't know which one's going to go off and set off the whole chain reaction. And that's exactly what wound up happening. And so, you know, some of this just the desire to understand money. Oh, and by the way, at the same time this had happened, in 2007, I was getting ready to go on a trip. My buddy gave me a book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. And I read that book, and it totally changed my life. I was like, oh, I get it. Now, banks, you know, I always thought of small banks, and this was regional banks. This was like governmental banks, World Banks, Bank for International Settlements, you know, all of this. It was IMF, and I'm like, oh, it's just a bigger game, right? It's a scam. You same way that these local banks are loaning money to these people who shouldn't be buying houses, then they default, and then the banks take back the houses. It's like they're going to get tangible assets for loaning fake money into existence. And then I'm like reading Perkins' book going, and they do it at the governmental level too. Oh, this all makes sense now. So to answer your question, it was incremental. It's 9/11 at first, you know, but it's Iraq War, I guess, first, and then that leads you to 9/11, and then the housing collapse that I was in but couldn't see, and that leads you to money and mortgages and how did this all go up, and then that's the Federal Reserve, and then central banking, and you go, oh my God, this is all monopoly money, and then from there you can take it anywhere you want, and so that actually wound up, you know, in 2016, I started working on the Octopus book. It came out in 2017. And that just came out of a conversation that I had with my mom, where I was just telling her about this new, you know, some new conspiracy I'd come across. And she's like, this is really fascinating. It's interesting that you have all this information, and it seems really important, but what are you going to do with it? Like, is there a plan for you with all this? Or is this a hobby? Is this something, you know? And I was like, God, I don't even know. It never crossed my mind that I had a role in it. Right. And so then after thinking about it, I decided that maybe the book would be a good place to start. So that was my journey. And then the book, you know, and then the book became the podcast, and then the podcast becoming the MC of the largest anarchist conference in the world a couple times. And, you know, I mean, if I wrote a business plan for something like this, you would have had to have thrown it in the trash. I mean, if I had written all this out that this was going to happen, you would think I was delusional, and I would have thought I was delusional. So some of this is just like, you know, you start down that path and you see what happens. And David Icke talks about this, and he talks about it in a negative component, the totalitarian tiptoe, right? Where you don't have to go from A to Z all at once. You just have to go from A to B. And once you get to B, then you go from B to C, and then from C to D. And you worry about the next one when you get there, right? And it becomes very, very gradual. And then you wind up, once you get from A to Z, the whole world has changed. And you go, how did we get here? And you go, we got here incrementally. We got here a little bit at a time. So much in the way they destroy the world, that's kind of how I came into all the information. And that's how after writing the book, things have turned out for me. I just go from A to B and B to C and see where that takes me. And I take my hands off the wheel.
Wow. Does that answer your question, Outcast?
Yeah, it's great. No, it's good. I can relate to a lot of it. I definitely get where he's coming from. It's funny that you use the 3-card Monte analogy, because I'm not a gambler. I never have been. But when I was in a punk band, when I was in the 90s, I was on tour. And for some reason, I don't even know why, I ended up playing 3-card Monte, and I got took. And that feeling, you're just like, how did I not see that this whole thing is a giant scam? How did it just like, I got hypnotized. And I think that's a big part of this. The reason that they give us so much signaling through movies and television, in the words that they say, like George Bush Sr. I remember him I was a punk rock kid. We were really dialed into George Bush Sr. and he was saying New World Order. And we were going, right there. He said it again. And yet I think I made a conscious decision to try to go back to sleep. But what they're doing, I think, to a lot of people, though, is they say, let us show you how good our hypnotism is. We're going to dazzle them with entertainment, sports people, celebrities, everything. And then we're going to throw truth in there and go, and we want to bring a new world order with 1,000 points of light and all this stuff. And they go, see, they didn't even notice. Let's do it again. And it's almost like an exercise for how asleep we are. Right. Yeah. Now, maybe they overstepped their boundaries, but, I think COVID woke a ton of people up. Like, I was looking at the same stuff you are, but I didn't let it pull me in. I was kind of resistant, even though I was seeing inconsistencies. But next thing you know, like especially after COVID, I was like, oh no, it's on. And it's and they want to get rid of us. Right. So we better wake up, because the stakes are really high. I mean, they're not just messing around here. They're dead serious about what they want to do to us. I've
come to this understanding that whenever you are talking about world government, or in this particular new flavor of it, I would describe it as world governance, which isn't necessarily like planting flags and troops on the ground in every country. We're all connected. I mean, government, that we're all under the same policy. Legal policy, so governance that way. But once you start talking about world government, you are so close to talking about depopulation. And I think that because the natural progression for these people is this governing business would be so much easier if it wasn't for all these people. And so they start looking at ways to thin the herd. And so you can come at this from a couple different ways. You can think that this information is interesting and entertaining and fascinating, and I feel that way about it. But you can also look at it as potentially life-saving, because when you understand, and this is not being black-pilled, as they say, this is being honest with what you're up against. As soon as you come to the understanding that your government hates your guts and wishes that you were dead, once you get there, things start to make more sense. And you ditch this illusion that the government is there to help you in any way, shape, or form. It's the it's the apparatus of the state, and it is there to subjugate you. And it needs to keep itself relevant, and it will create ways to inject fear into the public in order to keep them docile. And they'll do all kinds of terrible things to the people. They'll put fluoride in the water. They'll spray things over your head in chemtrails, which, and it's all provable. It's all on the record. You can back all this up. So you just start thinking, if I kind of like make an analogy between my personal life and my relationship with the government. If I was in a relationship with the government like I am with my wife, I would be filing for divorce and getting a restraining order against them.
Yeah.
And the judge would be like, oh, absolutely. They are psychologically manipulating you. They're stealing your money. Straight up stealing your money. Yep. They're doing everything they possibly can. They're poisoning you. I mean, you can make a long list of all the things the government, and you go, I would never tolerate this in my personal life. Why do I tolerate this in my my general public life? Where I go to, why would I ever be okay with this? And so I've drifted along in my ideology and wound up with anarchism, like in that camp with the people there, and going to an Acapulco every year now for the last couple of years, and kind of joking on the first year there, like, where is the Molotov cocktail throwing exhibition? And they're like, the irony is that they don't have the burning tire contest there. What happens is that 3 big full-size luxury buses pull up at the lobby of the hotel. I was there the first year I was there, 2019. I was like, what is this? I asked the guy next to me, what are all these buses doing here? And they said, oh, those buses are taking all the people that signed up to the nature preserve, the turtle sanctuary, and they're releasing baby sea turtles into the ocean tonight at, late at night. I was like, that's some anarchy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I expected.
Stuff right there.
It wasn't that, it was like, and so the more I'm around these people that have come to this realization that I just have, my expectations for the government, for the state are very low. I would prefer they just stay away from me. We could, I'll stay away from them to the extent that I can. You stay away from me. And then I'll go to these events and I'll see people that are not trying to fix a broken system, but they're building a parallel system, something totally different, or with regard to schooling, or the way they're growing food, or the way they're conducting business with privacy, cryptocurrencies, and gold backs and things like that. And the alternative health space there, I went, wow, these people are super smart. This is not like what I had in mind. And so I think there's part of me that's optimistic about where we are, and that I'm almost glad that people are waking up over the last couple of years. You mentioned, Outcast, with COVID, that COVID woke a lot of people up. It did for sure. It woke a lot of people up, and for a segment of the population, it broke them in a way that's irreparable. And I have seen this in my own life, and it is undeniable and unfortunate and frustrating and totally preventable, but it happened. And when you're early, like we are, talking about this stuff in 2020, you sound insane, but for better or for worse, the three of us have records of what we were talking about when we were talking about it. And I think that is a huge component of this. It's, while I'm grateful, I suppose, that Tucker Carlson and the like are talking about the dangers of the vaccines in 2025, I really wish they were talking about it in 2021 like I was.
Same here.
So I think it matters when you were doing it too. Like it's now there's a bunch of people parachuting in saying, I think we need to check what's going on with Fauci. It's like, oh, do you think so?
Yeah,
the gay community could have told you that in the early 80s. The COVID crowd could have told you that. Kerry Mullis could have told you that before COVID, and he was screaming. So it matters when you're talking about it, and I think that's really kind of what separates us from the normies out there, the normies who are resistant to come to this information. I don't want to believe that these people are trying to kill me. I don't want to believe that, but that's the evidence is overwhelming. That it's a global effort to depopulate the planet through eugenics.
There it is right there. And that's, again, Outcast, it sounds like Charlie's been on our show a million times, doesn't it? I mean, how many times? That's awesome, Charlie. We have some mutual friends, I believe, that were in Anarchapulco with you. Carrie Madej and Marjorie Wildcraft. They've been on our show multiple times, and we're good friends with all them. So I'm sure the stuff they told us, it's a great time.
I laid down in the grass in the front row and watched Carrie Madej's presentation in 2023. And Marjorie and I have been at Anarchapulco the last 3 years in a row as presenters and as MCs. She MCs the Sovereign Skills. I get confused. There's one of the days where there's growing food and anyway, she MCs that day. I MC the anarchist day one. And so we've gotten to know each other over the years. Yeah. And she's fantastic. She's just and And Carrie's great too. You know,
Yeah.
I got a chance to see her do her presentation in 2023, and I was blown away. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to connect with her after that. But that's one of those things. You know, I'll tell you this: if you get a chance to go to these live events, these conferences, festivals, you know, whatever it is, try to go. You know, I mean, just really, because that connection with other people it recharges you in a way that feels like you can go another year. Okay, I can, you know, I feel okay. I know I'm not the only one out here seeing this stuff, and I connected with other people, and it's really valuable. That's why I keep going to I'm always flattered when, you know, to get invited to any of these things, but I love to go just because it reminds me that there's like a lot of people out there that are really impacted by this and feel that they get something out of it from finding out about this information, especially in the health field, which I don't pretend to be an expert in, but the people that show up at an Acapulco with health issues and get alternative treatments there. I watched a lady with MS walk out of an RV, Jeff Berwick's RV, after getting Tesla, doing these Tesla coils on her, this ozone therapy. It looks fraud. It looks like, talk about 3-card money. It looks like the health version of 3-card money. You know, it's like these light bulbs, and you press them on your body, and it's connected to some like weird converter, and you can smell ozone, and it'll warp all your electronics, make them all wonky. But I'll be damned if this lady didn't go through 3 treatments, have MS. And I said, well, how are you feeling? She did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I caught her on the Wednesday, and she threw her cane over her shoulder. She goes, I feel pretty good. And she just walked off. And she said she had been in a wheelchair for the last decade.
It's amazing, man. They suppress so much stuff from us. I mean, nonstop. Again, you know, eugenics is at the top of the thing. You know, they want to put us all underground or under their full control. You know, I didn't know that. You know, back in the day, I was always on Activist Post. I didn't know that you own it now, which is awesome because the guys that you bought it from, that was I can't remember his name now. I remember his face, but I can't remember who that was now. Why don't you tell everybody what Activist Post is all about?
Yeah. So look, I agree with you. I love Activist Post as well. It's one of my main sources of information. It's an independent news website. Yep. It's been in operation for 15 years. I've been reading it for about 10 years. Last summer, the guys from Activist Post reached out to me, and they said that they were ready to do something different. It had been a long ride, you know, 15 years. They really got hammered hard in 2016. They got put on the naughty list with WikiLeaks and the Free Thought Project, and a bunch of 200 other websites as like disinformation, you know, purveyors or something, whatever. But it destroyed their ability to make money. For all these websites, it knocked them out of the Google AdSense network. And it put a lot of them out of business, and Activist Post made it through and never compromised and never did, never sacrificed any of their integrity. And then they reached out to me last summer and said, listen, we would love for you to buy it. Would you be interested in buying it? And I said, absolutely not. And thought about it for 2 days. And then I thought, you know, it's such a fit with what I'm doing anyway. You know, it writing books and podcasts and all that stuff. It seemed like it could be a good fit. And so I said, yes, you know what? I changed my mind. I'll buy it. And so I bought it with Bitcoin and rebuilt the entire site, launched it January 1st. And we've, it's just a fantastic place to go read republished articles from independent journalists that are like years ahead. It's like news from the future compared to the mainstream, for sure. I mean, it's and I expanded out the available categories. I added a podcast component to it. I added crypto as well. and solutions. Solutions is extremely important. You know, we've got to, it's one thing to talk about all this stuff, and we need to educate ourselves as much as we can. But there also has to be some off ramp. You know, there has to be some actionable information out there that you can use and incorporate into your life to make this better. Or, you know, as Jeff Berwick, who's the owner of Anarchapulco, he and I wrote a book called The Controlled Demolition of the American Empire, and we put it out in 2020. And we talk about how the American empire is slated for destruction. The detonators have been rigged. The columns have been pre-weakened. It's just a matter of pushing down sounding the alarm, pushing down the plunger, and then clearing out the debris. But in the aftermath of this, there's going to be real opportunities for people who were paying attention beforehand and understood what was happening in the banking system and took a look at reevaluated their relationship with their bank and realized that they're an unsecured creditor.
Yep.
And that they don't actually own the money in their bank account. Banks do. And you need to start preparing accordingly for some sort of banking contagion. Because that was how Berwick and I started our whole conversation before we started on the book. Was we were talking one time and he said to me, "It's all coming down." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, what? And he's like, you know, like the banking system, it's all coming down. I was like, oh yeah, like a house of cards. And then I thought, no, actually more like a controlled demolition. And after that conversation, he said, "You want to write a book together?" And I said, yes. And I know what I want. I know what we should do. And I just said, we'll make the comparison between how you take down an actual building. I lived in Vegas for 10 years. I know they take down the casinos, you know, they make a big show of it. But what they do is they pre-weaken it. They go in there and cut all the support columns so that they don't have to use as much explosives to take it down. So they do all these things.
Building 7.
Yeah, exactly. And so in the book cover is Building 7.
Yeah. Is it awesome?
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
If you pull up, just look for The Controlled Demolition of the American Empire. Jeff Berwick, Charlie Robinson. That cover says it all. And when we put that out, we put it out the Friday before the 2020 selection when Biden was installed, and it became a #1 bestseller on election day, which to us was the greatest irony you could possibly have, because you'll never vote again if you read the book. So yeah, there you go.
There it is right there. Okay, look at that. It's on.
That's Building 7 wrapped in the American flag.
It is. Wow, look at that. And I'll tell you what, people, if you want to look at the Building 7 stuff, when you see the video of it coming down, focus your attention the very, very top of the building where the penthouse is up there, and it's sitting up there. And you'll see that collapse in itself and kind of drop and go away. And then the rest of the building, exact same way. Building 47, people don't know anything about it. They're learning. But think about it. In most cities, this is going to be your skyscraper of that city. It's 47 stories tall, you guys. It's insane. But they had to get these other ones down so that the smaller one, where all the good stuff is that they needed to get a hold of, would go away without anybody noticing it. So they knew what they were doing, Charlie. These people are demons, what I'm saying.
And the occupants of World Trade Center 7, the Solomon Brothers building, was a cast of characters in and of itself, not the least of which was the CIA.
Yep, exactly. Outcast, what are you thinking?
Oh, that graphic of the Building 7 wrapped in the flag is an incredible visual for the controlled demolition of the United States. That's a great image for
I struggled with that one because I was trying to, Jeff, to his credit, let me drive on a lot of this, because I was like, I said, I have a vision for this, and I don't get these visions, and I'm not one of the, I'm telling you, I think that if we could encapsulate it. And what I was trying to do was, the original one had 4 different images in like a film strip. And it was because I wanted it to show movement of it coming down. in the end, it was too busy. It wasn't going to work. So I picked the third one, and that's it. You can already see the building has started to kink in the middle.
Yep.
Classic controlled demolition.
Oh, you have Doug Casey on there too. Awesome. Well,
Doug Casey wrote the foreword to it. Yeah. Yeah. Ron Paul agreed to write the foreword to it, but he had his medical incident on camera 2 days afterwards. And we were like, Jeff messaged me and he's like, dude, we got to let Ron off the hook. I was like, yeah, I think so. But we were so flattered that he would do it. I don't know Ron Paul, but Jeff does. Jeff has had him speak at Anarchapulco multiple times and knows him pretty well, and asked him to write the foreword, and he said yes, but then he couldn't do it for medical reasons. And so
that's horrible.
So Jeff goes, hey, listen, not like this is second place or anything. Like, this is no silver medalist, but what about Doug Casey? I was like, oh, dude, Doug Casey is fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Let's get him. So,
I've got some questions that I'd like to bring now. All the stuff. I mean, you just laid out a great background there, and in a lot of stuff that you've been up to and what you're doing with the red pill stuff too. And this, I'm telling you guys, get this book. It's a manual. All right. How can we apply this book that you have, Charlie, the Octopus of Global Control, with today's stuff? I mean, look what happened to the Trump and Elon thing. Was it real? Was it a hoax? What were they trying to do with that? I mean, I told everybody that I know, I said, just chill on this. Don't react at all. Let this thing play out. Don't worry about that. Then you have the whole Palantir with their surveillance system, the big, giant, beautiful bill stuff. It's wild. How can we use your book and try to break down some of the stuff that we are magically seeing on TV? And then again, of course, the peaceful protest right now in LA. It's crazy.
Let's talk about the peaceful protests in LA, because I just coincidentally happened to have lived through the Rodney King riots in South Central Los Angeles in 92 when I was going to USC. So I was there, and one day everything is fine, or as fine as it can be in the hood. And then the next day, everything is on fire. And you don't know if you can get on a freeway, and you're not sure if you're going to get stuck. I just loaded up my car with everything I had from my college apartment. It was the tail end of my sophomore year in college. I was we had about 10 days until finals. And so my classes were coming to an end and my finals were about to happen. And they said, your finals are optional. I was like, great. I opt to be done. And I'm loading up my car with all my stuff, and I am getting out of here for as long as I can. That was an authentic riot. That was like, the people are angry. I made a comment on macroaggressions that you only if you notice, you only have the riots during the summer when the weather's nice and people are outside in the streets. But you never have them in January.
They have to be comfortable, Charlie, to get their anger out. They have to be warm and comfy.
So it is protest weather.
Yes,
there is sort of like, you have to be in protest weather. So I was like, there's going to be disruptions in the summer of 2025. Like, you can bet on that, because it's going to be hot and Trump's going to be around, and the lefties are still do the same thing they did before, which is use NGOs to run color revolutions on America. That's what George Soros does. He's been doing color revolutions in countries around the globe for 30 years, and he gives them little names: the Rose Revolution, the Tulip Revolution, the Orange Revolution, the Black Revolution. Summer 2020. That's what it was. The Black Lives Matter. That was a color revolution too. America had a color revolution pulled on it in the summer of 2020, and it was financed by George Soros. That's not my opinion on it. That's provable in his financial records.
Yep. And people got rich and bought mansions.
And they bought mansions. That's
in
right.
Canada.
Yes, they did. It was a gigantic fraud. It was just a grift. You almost have to stand in appreciation of the audacity of them with the straight theft of all of that money.
Yeah. And look how
I
many
mean, nothing
people
got
it
done.
fooled.
Literally nothing got done.
Yeah, I remember, all these people putting these black squares on their social media and all this black boxes and having these little protest walks in the neighborhoods and mostly white neighborhoods and it was craziness. You know what I did, Charlie? I had caught a bass a big largemouth bass like that the weekend before, and I held it up like that. There's my black box right there. And while everybody else was switching their stuff to black boxes, I was so proud of my fish that I caught. But it's crazy, man, to see all this stuff unfold and people are actually falling for it. And I was like, you guys, this is all paid for nonsense. No, it's not. These we got to go out there. We got to help our fellow brothers and sisters. It's like, all right, do it. I'll be over here fishing, whatever. I mean, it's crazy.
Any good psyop like that requires a little bit of truth, right? There's got to be genuine anger there is genuine frustration on both sides. They just are the ones that manufacture the spark. They're the ones that bring in the plainclothes Antifa types to brown shirts. This is not a new concept. This is what Hitler did in the early 30s. In the mid 30s, the brown shirts were sent in to antagonize everybody and to break up, start fights and cause problems and do exactly what Antifa is doing. But what the brown shirts didn't understand was that Hitler was growing a parallel organization called the SS. And when the time was right, he had the SS murder all of the brown shirts. And this is what the leftists that are involved in these movements will never understand, is that they are the definition of useful idiots. And when the time comes and they install their comrades into power, they will be put up against the wall. That's Yuri Bezmenov talks at length about this. This is how it was done in the Soviet Union.
Yep.
It's just that they don't understand history. And so they're out there and they think they're fighting for some cause, and they have no idea that the bricks that they're throwing through the car windows are there in pallets because somebody ordered them.
That's right.
And paid for them and put them there. And this is being made to happen. So they're being weaponized. And then, like the cherry on top, let's not discount this. They have manipulation methods that are not discussed publicly in terms of the technology that they can use on the minds of people in large crowds. Okay.
Yep.
They can rev you up to an 11. You know what I mean? And I would not be surprised. In LA, there's Reaper drones circling. I would not be surprised. First of all, everybody there is being scanned, tracked. License plate readers, facial recognition cameras, cell phone tower pings, Reaper imaging, all of that. You've all walked into a trap. Congratulations. And I think this is important to keep an eye on, this Los Angeles situation, because there's going to be some tactics that are used on people to get them into a frenzy.
Yeah. I got a question for both of you guys. Like you said earlier, this is all the conditions are there. And my thought, all the conditions there, I like making fires, right? I like making campfires and fires to burn boxes. You need all the conditions right there. The final piece that you need is that spark, that ignition. So I want to ask you guys, to me, I think all the conditions are right in LA, plus in all these other country or liberal cities that we're going to talk about in a minute. What's it going to take right now? First, you, Outcast, what do you think is going to take for something to jump off in a major way that the left needs, that the media will back them on?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. So you think you're asking me if what is going to have to happen for the left to wake up
for this to ignite into a bigger event that the left wants right now? Because it's everybody's there. You got the National Guard there. The Trump just sent 500 to 700 people over there. You have
he's talking military now too.
Yeah, military people are in there. So what is the spark that they want? What do you think it could be? It could be tonight. It could be tonight.
Hey, just for the heck of it, I'm going to say this. Remember the iconic image of the standalone person being run over by the tank in Tiananmen Square in China?
Yep.
They need an optic like that. They need some heroic freedom fighter to be mowed down in the street to ignite this civil war scenario that they want so badly.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there.
Totally.
Charlie, am I hitting it?
No.
Am I nailing it?
100%. No, this has got
good.
Tavistock written all over it. Yeah, this is going to be made to happen. Yeah, I think here I'll take a swing at this. Derek Chauvin gets pardoned.
There you go. Yep, that's on the table. That is up on the table, but not yet. They got to let this jump off a little bit, get everybody in a frenzy, more of a frenzy than they are. As soon as they get the news, when let him off.
Hot.
Yeah, that thing's going to go lava hot. And we don't want to be anywhere around when that kind of nonsense happens. Wow.
It's going to be the middle of August when it's really hot. They're going to pardon Derek Chauvin. They're going to tell the Soros people in advance this is coming, and they will activate nationwide.
Yeah.
This is my, I don't know, 2025 bingo card. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I could envision a scenario like that,
Well, go ahead. Okay.
No, go ahead. I'm all over the place. Go ahead if you want to.
Well, I was going to just
I'll ask in a second.
Piggyback on the back of what you just said. Now, today I had a lot of people, and they're all sending me the same thing. You guys have probably all seen it, nokings.org. I'll go over to it right now, and there it is right there. So on the website, you go to nokings.org, and there it is right there. In America, we don't do kings. Now, this is the left-wing stuff here. It says they defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. On June 14th, which is this coming Saturday, I believe, right? Find an event. Oh, it says we rise up. Find an event on the map below for a special note on Washington, D.C. Click here. Here's a map of the United States, you guys. So Saturday, this is their plan, is to do these rise up little protests all over. Where are you at on that map, Charlie? Are you somewhere in the middle? Are you with a dot or no?
Denver.
I'm in Denver. All right. So there's some dots over there. We're over here in Michigan. There's a million dots over to the east. Look at all that. It's crazy. So
yeah.
They are, upcoming calls and trainings. Disappeared in America, America mass call. I mean, no King's Day town hall, know your rights training. So, I mean, they are getting ready to do some battling. Look at all these training things and event mass call, pre-mobilization stuff. Go ahead.
This is USAID pulling a regime change on America.
Oh, I like that. That's really good. This is a regime change.
They would. Yep. This is what they would finance regime changes in foreign countries, and they would do similar things. Just finance the opposition, finance protests, start trouble at protests, kidnap people. Do all of the. I mean, we haven't got to the kidnapping part here yet, but they don't have a problem doing that in foreign countries. But this is the sort of thing that this is just all of our tactics are being turned against us. I mean, this is what we do internationally. When there's a government that isn't playing ball with us, we do things just like this.
Look at that. It says, what is no, go ahead, Outcast. Go ahead and talk. I'm going to scroll through this.
Charlie, I was going to say that there was an HBO movie I've talked about on the show before called Revolution. Have you seen that by chance?
No.
It came out a couple years ago. I recommend you watch it. I believe that is the left's fantasy or their predictive programming of how they hope to get rid of Trump. It came out before the election, and it creates a scenario that this Trump type like character gets elected, and they get the military to split. One half sticks with the president, and the other half sticks with the people, and it portrays this it's a hokey movie. I'm not going to say it's the best movie you ever saw, but I do believe they think that they can pull this off. At the end of the movie, they end up like going into DC, and then they go into the White House, and then this DEI group of warriors goes in and hunts the president down in the White House, where he's on his back begging for mercy, and they shoot him in the face. And it's their fantasy plan. And I see all this, to me, correlates with that movie Revolution, which I think is, like I said, it's a leftist masturbation film about how they want things to go. I'd be curious to see what you think if you see it.
I'm going to check it out. It's so hard for me to take them all seriously when you see what we got in 2020, which was the hilarious Seattle autonomous zone known as Chaz and Chop.
Chaz.
Right? You saw the leftist utopia that they built, where this guy was trying to grow a tomato
in a bag,
trying to plant tomato seeds on top of a pizza box with potting soil, and there was a lunatic next to him, this dude who hadn't showered in a year, who just stomped on all of his stuff while it was being filmed. And the guy's like, "Excuse me, sir, you're stepping on my tomato plants." And this guy was just having a mental breakdown. I was like, this is perfect. Like it was the funniest thing that you could have during COVID. Do you remember that? It was like,
I do. I remember seeing him watching those
summer
videos.
of 2020.
Summer of love.
This is too. It's too funny for it to be real.
It's funny because in the movie Revolution, there's scenes where the faction of the military that's supporting the overthrow of the government and ousting the president, they keep showing these guys with nail polish on and lipstick, and I'm not kidding you, they're in the military gear with guns, but they got their so yeah, you make a great point. This is a party that thrives off of divisiveness, and they're supposed to coalesce together for a common cause. It's tough. Liberalism is a circular firing squad. They'll always eventually turn the guns towards each other.
Yep.
I agree. I wouldn't say the same thing about the Republicans, though. They seem like they would be better at working together. The leftists eventually eat their own, they turn on each other at some point. They're social piranhas. You just stay away from them as much as you can. I can shit all over them because I say things about the people on the right too. But it's just the lefties I have a specific disdain for, because they're so divorced from reality. They just refuse to see reality and live in a very, very sheltered and fake world. And
it is so crazy how there's I say it a lot on the show Outcast. The media has created two realities. The one that we see here, and then a completely separate reality at the exact same time. Now, real quickly, I want to read this thing on this nokings.org mission statement thing. It says, what is No Kings? No Kings is a national day of action of mass mobilization in response to the increasing authoritarian excesses and corruption of the Trump administration. We've watched as they crack down on free speech, detain people for their political position, threatened to deport American citizens, and defied the courts. They've done all this while continuing to serve and enrich their billionaire allies. They think they rule, but we are bigger than their worst aspirations. Now, here's 3 points. President Trump is planning a military parade in Washington on June 14th, next Saturday. The display is the display of might is intended to intimidate impotence and solidify his image as a strongman on our dime. We won't stand by while that happens. Next one, instead of allowing this military parade to be the center of gravity, we will make action everywhere else the story of America that day. People coming together in communities across the country to reject strongman politics and corruption. I mean, it sounds great and everything, right? But alongside local organizers, partners, and leaders across the pro-democracy and pro-worker movement, we will demonstrate organized people power that outpaces by any authoritarian aspiration. Now, the final thing, No Kings events should be additive and congruent with adjacent mobilization and recognitions of veteran celebrations, pride events, and Juneteenth. So they're going all in on this website anyway. They're going all in. They're going to have a good time, and I'm going to watch it all from afar, hopefully with a fishing pole in my hand. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
So again, people, just don't be anywhere. If there's something going on and you don't want to be part of it, get out of Dodge. Get out of there.
Stay away from this stuff. Just don't get sucked into it. It is such a trap that people, and I know a lot of people want to, I don't know. I think some people have good intentions. I think some people are being actively rented out and used to provoke nonsense. This is a tactic that happens in all of these events. I mean, every single one of them. There's always an agent provocateur. So you don't want to be somewhere and be unlucky. Just to the extent that you can, get away from this stuff.
It's also entirely possible that they're trying to provoke conservative-minded people that don't like them destroying their cities into engaging. They want that to happen. And we usually don't take the bait. Yeah, we don't take the bait too often, but maybe they're hoping this is the one that's going to make somebody agitated. Once again, all they need is their Tiananmen Square moment. Maybe some patriot goes out there and gets stomped on, and then they film it and they show it over and over again on the news and try to stimulate that. We have to, Charlie, this might be a anarchist cliche, but I'm an old punk rocker and I was exposed to a lot of anarchist punk music, so I know the waters a little bit. But anarchist freedom starts in the mind, right? Individually in the mind, right? So when we look at this stuff, do not let these people mind virus you. Don't let them bring you into hatred, fear, anxiety, aggression. All those low frequency emotions are designed to suck off of your energy. And if you're going to be any type of, whether if you seek your freedom through a relationship in God like I do now, or through anarchism or whatever it is, do not engage mentally, emotionally. Don't even look at your phone. Don't put even likes on the videos. Don't even look at it, because they're trying to lower your frequency, and they love it. The people love it when they can reduce you down to their level, right? They'll poke, they prod, they poke, they prod, and then when you fight back, then they just wallow in it. They love to see that you got in the mud to roll around with them like a pig. They dig it. What are your thoughts on that, Charlie? I'm just rambling, but any
100%. It is designed to draw you in and keep you in a low vibrational state. You're better off to, all this information. I think the way I treat it is I want to be educated about it. And I want to understand it. Doesn't mean I have to dwell in the negativity of it, and it doesn't mean that I have to have anxiety about it. But I want to know what I'm up against. So, give it to me straight, and I'll handle it. So,
that's good explanation. And of course, Outcast, I really think that's important. Being free in the mind, free mind. There's nothing bigger than that. And independence, and all the stuff that we get into. But listen to this guy. I caught this video here just earlier today, and I want to show you that you might not have seen, or you probably won't hear this kind of talk on any of the mainstream media from a guy that's right down there in the LA riots right now.
We don't agree with the term illegal. We're undocumented. We've been here for thousands of years before you guys showed up, screw up everything. We think we should organize together with the U.S. working class and fight together and create a better system. We're anti-capitalist. We think socialism does work, real socialism, not Venezuela, not Cuba, not any of that crap that they try to sell us as socialism. And we believe it would be a more humane system that will take care of most of all people's necessities.
Is there a country we can look to kind of model the socialism idea?
The only model would be Soviet Union the first 4 years. After that, it became a mess. Sadly, there was a bureaucrat leadership that grew out of that, but it has to do mainly with the attacks of the U.S. and all big powers against that system that was working. In the few years that it lasted, it showed the world that it could do much better than capitalism.
You guys,
Oh,
what do you think of that?
oh
That is some
my
crazy
God.
stuff.
So
Let me count the
before I did real estate back in like the early 2000s, we had a media training company that worked with pro athletes, get them ready for interviews and public speaking and commercials and things like that. And so I would always, be watching people who are spokespeople. I would not let that person be the spokesperson for what movement I was trying to create. I've
He's
just got to
busted.
say.
Busted.
When he goes, what is it's the Soviet Union, but just the first 4 years. It's like, oh my God.
That was straight the Bolsheviks. That's what he's talking about. He wants that crap.
What he doesn't realize is that the Bolsheviks shot all the upper management of all of the all the companies, all of the methods of production, and were uneducated retards that didn't know how to do anything and had to import in American management to fire up the factories again because they didn't know how to run them.
Yep.
So they're just an unthinking blob, which is actually kind of a perfect encapsulation of what that leftist Democratic Party has become. Just an unthinking blob that goes along with whatever they're told to believe, no matter how ridiculous it is and how provably nonsensical it is. They just go along with it, and they just,
it's wild. It is completely wild. Go ahead.
He had me for a second because I'm thinking, oh, what example does he have? And he's like, he might as well have said, well, the first 4 months of Pol Pot was great. I mean, it's like, and you think about, he said most people, and they said, well, all people will benefit from it. I'm thinking, like the billion, I mean, literally over 1 billion people that were killed at the hands of Stalin. Okay,
Right.
I see. So, and then you want to do this here, but you failed at doing it from Mexico's standpoint. You can't do it. You can't do it from the Venezuelan. Why are you here? You think this is a fresh take? It's just comical to me. It's like, you've had opportunities. Go take your revolution there and do it right. Right? No, it doesn't, because it has nothing to do with that. They're being animated by something higher than them. They don't even realize that they're being played. They're pawns in this game, and they're trying to talk intelligently about something they know nothing about because it's never worked. Want to talk about a cult or an ideology? The communist cult is the worst. They're not founded in reality whatsoever.
No, I mean, you're guaranteed to have, you're all going to be equally screwed.
Yeah.
That's how it always plays out if you're not dead. And these people don't understand that they never account for the human factor, which is that they've shown that after you get into a bigger than about 300 people, you cannot run socialism. It just doesn't work because the percentages start to get wonky with people not wanting to participate, and they've just said 200 to 300 people maximum. And these guys are talking about centrally planned. I mean, these are some of the dumber people out there, and they're talking about centrally planning the food supply. You're going to make sure that the bread trucks run on time. I mean, color me a little bit suspicious. You don't seem bright enough to figure that out. Like, I'm just not sold that you're the right people for the job. Even if this was an ideology that is going to work, you're just not the highest quality management I'm looking for. You can't even tell me what gender you are or what, you know what I mean? Like, you're a very unserious group of people to begin with, and you're trying to take on a task that is almost insurmountable, which is installing communism. And you think you're going to magically pull it off. This time is going to be different. Like, just color me a little bit, I don't know, just a bit skeptical of their potential, because there's nothing about them that I've seen that makes me feel confident that they can get anything accomplished. So that's kind of my white pill, I guess, if for the night, is that if you want to look at it this way, they're too stupid to accomplish their goals. you have to sort of take that into account. I mean, they're surprisingly organized by, the NGOs and things like that. But at their core, these are not impressive people, and they're trying to do something revolutionary. And it's just, I don't know how worried I am about Summer of Love 2. You know what I mean? I think something's going to happen, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to pull off a nationwide meltdown.
Right.
I agree. But what worries me is that they're maybe too stupid to fulfill any of their visions that they have for the future, but they're not too stupid to be used by higher entities like George Soros and his color revolutions. That's the disturbing part, is that these people are easily used as patsies for all kinds of shenanigans. That's disconcerting.
Useful idiots. They've been around with us forever. They've been with us forever.
But if you're aware that this is a thing, that these uprisings aren't as authentic and organic as you've been led to believe, then you're going to be more likely to stay away from them. Or, once you understand that that's one of these potential traps, you go, oh yeah, I don't want to be anywhere near that.
Yep.
Not because I don't support the thing or whatever it is, but like, don't get yourself tagged.
Right.
Just don't.
Yep. If you don't want to get in trouble, stay away from the trouble.
Don't make it easy for them.
Yeah. Before you have to get out of here, what do you think about this? Again, a question for both you guys. We can see all the crazy nonsense that's on TV, the burning of cars, the throwing of stuff, the violence, the smoke, the city is burning up, the everything being thrown over the bridges, and just the craziness, right? At the same time, you have their media saying, again, it's peaceful. Maxine Waters coming out and saying, these people are just want to live here. We need to know their stories, where they come from, how they live. Then you have the likes of with the Governor Newsom, Getty family over there, saying how family, or how these are family oriented people. They're nice, and they're part of fabric of our community. All this stuff at the same time, watching that Vietnam take off in their backyard. I mean, what are they trying to accomplish by stating stuff like that on the face of Vietnam blowing up in their backyard? I mean,
it's gaslighting.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Outcast. Who are they fooling with that stuff, Charlie? Not us.
I sometimes think that that's a message for two different audiences.
All right.
There's a segment of the population that will buy that explanation. And then for people like us, it's a blatant lie.
Yep.
It's a blatant lie. And that also serves as a message. Like, they don't even have the decency to give us a good lie.
I know. We need better psyops.
Back to my step one. Remember that the government hates your guts and wants you dead, right? So you realize that I get a little bit offended. I'm a psychological operations snob, I suppose. I like that. I have a high standard, a high threshold for these false flags. You know what I mean? Like, I demand, as they say, better psyops.
Yeah.
So
that's good. It's all in this book right here, you guys. Get this book.
It's in there.
Saying. Yeah, this stuff is so good.
It's in there.
I read this stuff and I'm like, we said that on the podcast. This is awesome. It's just, there's so much stuff in here.
Yeah, Mel K tells me that she keeps that as her conspiracy encyclopedia. She keeps it on her desk.
I can see that.
Now I know. I know I need one. I need a copy.
Yeah, I have to get you one. These are good. All right, Charlie. So your podcast, it's a great podcast. How many times is that? Once a week?
I do twice a week. Sundays are interviews and Wednesdays are monologues, and we're about to hit episode 550. So wow. It's been, I started right when the pandemic kicked off. Didn't mean to. I mean, I meant to start it in March of 2020. I just didn't know we were going to have COVID. But
yeah,
so it just so happened that that's when it started.
It lined up perfectly.
Yeah, it's been fun. We do that. I'm a co-host of Union of the Unwanted roundtable podcast with Sam Tripoli and Ricky Verandis and Midnight Mike, and we do that every other week. That's been a lot of fun.
I listened to the one you guys did a couple weeks ago. It was good. I had me laughing. What's that?
Was it the UFO one? We just did one a couple last week that was on. That was
we do like the UFO stuff and the demon stuff and the giant stuff and all that stuff. We're into all that stuff. Charlie. It's crazy.
Me too. I don't know much about it. I don't bring much to the table once we get into that stuff, but I'm happy to sit there and listen to the stories because I'm fascinated.
Oh yeah, we've done plenty of on that kind of stuff, and there's just so much. It's so vast. There's so much hidden history in this world, and here we are being focused on an LA riot by some knuckleheads. You know what I mean? So
I feel stupid for falling into that trap, for even knowing about the LA riots. You know what I mean? And so
me too. I feel dirty.
Like I should be, walking around the block or something, and instead of like on my phone reading about this stuff. It's like I'm already kind of losing, but the fact that it's drawing any of my attention is like a net loss as far as I see. So
it's hard to ignore.
I think we all are going to need to have a good sense of humor about things for the coming summer. I think that's where we should be, not from a disrespectful place, but from a like, I'm just going to sit up here on the hill and watch all the insanity out down below me and unfold.
That sounds like a great plan to me. Yep.
And be an observer on this one, not a participant.
Right. And keep your powder dry wherever you're at, you guys, because you never know when this stuff's going to jump off, in a city near you. They're saying there's going to be one here in Detroit, but Detroit usually doesn't play that kind of stuff here. Detroit's different than that.
We've been through it to a devastating level back in the 60s. I don't think people are in a hurry to do that again.
Yeah, no. There's keep your like I said, keep your powder dry. And Charlie, what some final things before you head off tonight?
Yeah, activistpost.com. Hopefully people will check it out. Bookmark it, set it for, as one of your information sources that you go to. I post about 10 different articles a day there, and it's a fantastic resource. You'll get familiar with some of the writers there. You'll probably wind up following their stuff. So, and also naturalblaze.com is alternative health. That was part of the Activist Post purchase in January. So,
okay.
Created more work for myself. So,
well, congratulations. You're going to do good things with it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I feel the same way about Activist Post that you guys do. It's been a great resource, and hopefully I intend to build upon what those guys created over the last 15 years, which has been, they made it through. They didn't sacrifice their integrity, and I appreciate that. And I won't either. So
it's none of that mainstream media nonsense. These headlines are deep, and they're thought out, and they're a great resource for podcasters too. I mean, I like going through that stuff, and hey, here's a story nobody's ever heard of. Let's go with that one. So, totally. Outcast, any final thoughts before he's got to go tonight?
Charlie, thank you so much for taking time to be with us and hang out with us. It's always awesome to encounter like-minded people. You are a valuable resource to waking people up and helping people to see a bigger picture. I can't wait to get my hands on your book. It sounds like, as an encyclopedia, at the very least, it sounds incredible. God bless you, and we wish you all the best of luck with the new website and everything you have coming up, and the new book that just came out too.
Thank you, guys.
You're a valuable resource to all of us who love truth. So God bless you, brother.
I appreciate it. I feel that it's important to talk about this stuff, even if it's a little bit heavy at times, because you can educate somebody on something that can potentially save their lives and put them in a position that they don't walk into some sort of medical experiment. You know what I mean? Because you had a conversation with them. So this is important stuff. And these people are monsters.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to know what we're up against, not to dwell in it, but just to recognize and be prepared, because If you're not, then you're a sucker. And these people talking about going back to communism, yeah, you've seen the number of bodies in communism. We don't want that. So keep your eyes open and make your moves accordingly. Prepare while you can for whatever you think might be coming. And good luck out there. And thanks for having me on, guys.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Thank you again. And we just lost Outcast for a second, but I know you got to go. And just let I think you're going to, quite frankly, let them know that we said hi over here.
I will.
Keep up the good work. And everybody get out there and get the book, Octopus of Global Control by Charlie Robinson. Thank you, sir. Hey, stay dangerous. All right. Good night. Man, he's good. Outcast. He's just an encyclopedia.
Great guest, Jesse.
A walking encyclopedia is what he is.
Yeah, and like us, like you said, he likes to keep it. He likes to look at the humor in things, and but also make people aware at the same time. He's just that's awesome. You found a really good one there. That's great, Jesse.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks. It was easy to choose him. Like I said, I've got so many emails out right now to so many different people. I'm filling up the spaces is what I'm saying. Oh, next week. Remember we have JT follows JC.
Cool.
Coming on. Remember we had that talk.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had that chat last week or something. We have something big that I want you guys to know. Look at Outcast camera just froze up again. He must be getting the weather that is headed my way. So hopefully not. But yeah, you guys, next week we have JT follows JC. Joe, he's coming back on the show. We're getting deep with so much stuff. It's gonna be crazy. Outcast, what happens? You got a storm there?
I keep freezing up.
Yeah.
I don't know where I left off. I was just gonna say I love JT's posts. Everything he posts, I love to consider what he's dropping all the time.
Yeah. Well, next week when I present you guys with the stuff, I don't want to tell you too much. But when I present you with this stuff, we're going to have to do it all live on the show. Your reactions, because I've already heard the stuff, but I think it's going to blow people's minds as we go through it. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it, but you two haven't yet. So it's wild. I can't wait for the next week. I got to prepare for that stuff. So, you know what we have to do? Music Lover, she says, I've heard of macroaggressions, but I haven't had a chance to listen. He seems like an awesome guy. Yeah, he is. He goes deep, you guys, on so many things. You know how I read these operations that the government does to us and, the MK Ultra stuff. He goes into all that kind of stuff, real deep into these things. And he researches, he gets a hold of people, finds out information, and he presents them on his show. So that's Macroaggressions podcast everywhere.
Yeah, you sent me a podcast of macroaggressions with that woman. She's she was at Anarchapulco and she was a kind of a health expert. Didn't you send that to me, Jesse?
I think I did.
Yeah,
man, I send so much stuff every day. I don't remember.
Sorry, it was a week ago, but I watched it. I listened to it, I should say.
All right. Well, check this out, you guys. Let's go over to our supporters shout outs because I got to say, we'll get there in a second, Outcast, is what I'm saying. Let me look here. Do you have anything more that you want to get off your chest tonight before? I mean, look, I'm thinking that something's jumping off tonight. Everything's in place. The tinderbox is there. It needs a spark. And tonight we could see that spark. Monday night. Go ahead.
I just hope we don't see we don't need a Kyle Rittenhouse. I just don't. We don't need it.
Well, I don't think that could happen. I think what's going to happen, because the Kyle Rittenhouses have got out of there. You know what I mean? I think the situation that here is going to be military, National Guard, police, law enforcement type versus these left-wing paid activists. All right. So the Kyle Rittenhouse, element is, I don't know if it's there. Really, you know what I'm saying? It might be there in one of the officers or in one of the military people, but as far as an individual guy like that, boy, that's a little different setup, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, like you said earlier, Outcast, this is another color revolution. You know, just like you always say about the George Soros stuff. That's what it is. I mean, the bricks are placed, the bricks are ready to go. Who did that? You know, of course, there's cameras that saw who did it. The bricks aren't just going to unload themselves. You know, you got to have a big machine to do that. So
it's a great point. There's cameras everywhere nowadays, and they don't know who put the bricks there. Come on.
Yeah. So it's crazy. The Palantir stuff that Trump is you know, considering putting in there and all that stuff. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I'm hoping that it's an exposure program that once people see it and understand it, they're going to oppose it, and it doesn't ever make it into existence. That would be great. Again, that whole Trump Elon stuff, I just told my friends, just stop. Give it 20 or 72 hours. Don't trip on it. Just wait and see. It might just go away. It might be nothing. It's probably something that they had planned, and who knows the reasons why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many more things I can get into on that, but as far as these big, beautiful bills, no, I don't like them. Not from any president. We shouldn't be having these big, beautiful bills. They should be having small individual bills only. That's it. The way it used to be. All right. Vote on each one of them. You guys have time for that. Come on, give me a break. I'm just looking again. The Canadian smoke stuff. I mean, if you guys want to believe that, to me, there's something in the air that's coming down. I don't know if it's the Canadian smoke stuff. Exactly what it is something that somebody's producing and making. It doesn't add up to me, because where was any of this stuff in the 70s and 80s, 90s, 2000s? Okay, so where was that?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Are we prone to forest fires here in Michigan? Not very often, and
No.
they're cooler and moister in the north than we are down here. It's more like their environment is almost akin to, maybe this is a stretch, but more akin to like the British Isles. So
Yeah.
that's not conducive to wildfires. I think it's one of two scenarios. I think that they're starting fires near smart cities to burn people out of rural areas to get them into the smart cities. Or I think we might be seeing a residual haze that comes from lithium mining. And I think it's ironic because they've sold their public on being green and being environmental. So the public is demanding battery operated cars.
Yep.
But then they want to hide the fact that the environmental disaster that's taking place as they mine the lithium for their green agenda. It's all hypocrisy. It's all backwards. And they have to like cover this up to the nth degree because they've been selling this myth of global warming and protecting the environment. And their public has bought it in Canada, hook, line, and sinker. I think for the most part, they are all about that green crap. You know, they don't see the big picture. For some reason, their schools are better at indoctrinating their kids, and they want to hide what they're doing to the environment with this lithium mining. That's a theory. I don't know that for a fact. That's just a feeling I have.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. There's so much, man. There's so much. Again, I wish I was just fishing instead of all this nonsense.
Yeah.
But listen, what do you have before we get to our supporter shout outs? Do you have a final out that you want to talk about or anything?
I'm undecided on that right now. So go ahead to the shout outs if you'd like.
All right. Well, you guys listen up. Tonight, there's that supporter music, the shout out music. These are from the people that are monthly supporters. Subscribestar, Buzzsprout, PayPal, Patreon. If you guys want to do that, you can be that too and be on the list and help us out monthly. If you want to do individual stuff, hey, that's fine too. That's why we put Buy Me a Coffee on there. PayPal also does the same thing. But if you want to do Buy Me a Coffee, please do. And if you don't, and if you want to just do shout outs, or tell your friends about us. That's what I'm saying. Share the show with your friends. Wherever you listen to this right now, grab it, link it, copy and link it, paste it to your friends, and say, hey, there's Jesse and Outcast talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. So, again, thank you for our monthly supporters. Manny Espejo, Jill Bark, Ryan Mansfield, Carmen Rosario, Chad Geyer, Michelle Yerkes, Music Lover, Heidi Human, Pastor Eric King and Belinda King, Cheryl E., Bonnie Moriarty, Beffer Mack, Steph Me, Fire Doug, Deb Santos, Dave Baxter, Capo, Ms. Melody, Isabel from Tennessee, Joey Costello. Hey, you know what, Outcast? We have a big birthday shout out to one of our brothers in our prayer text thread. Brother Tom. Tom, happy birthday, brother.
God bless you, Tom. Love you, brother.
That's right. Hopefully he hears this right here. So Again, thank you guys so much for being a Dangerous Info Podcast monthly supporter. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate you for doing what you're doing. And you guys are the fuel that keeps us going, and that's what we're gonna do is keep on going. So, Outcast, what are your thoughts, man? Any final thoughts of the night?
Yeah, if my prayer, I don't think my prayer was that strong tonight. I was kind of rambling a little bit, but I think there was nuggets of good stuff in there, and I keep making reference to, Jesus at the right hand of God on his throne.
Yeah,
he's fully God. He's fully God, but he's also fully man. Because he came in the flesh. He doesn't just have sympathy with us, but he has he sees us as siblings, and that's really profound to consider. And I was just flipping around the Bible looking for something to grab me, and here this is from Hebrews 4. It says, "Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has ascended into heaven, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need." I don't know about you, that's pretty profound stuff. So in my mind lately, and I've been saying it on the show, I visualize myself to humble myself. In my mind, I'm kneeling at the footstool of God's mighty throne. And my brother, Jesus, who's a brother to mankind, but he's also fully God. He's the high priest, the sacrificial lamb, and the brother of man. He's at the right hand of God, and he's petitioning on our behalf, asking God the Father to hold off his final judgment on humanity just a little longer so he can save one more soul. As we approach that throne in our hearts, when we bow our heads and pray, we are petitioning on behalf of our fellow man, and we're praying for people that we care about and are concerned about, and people that are going through difficulties. It's just an amazing thing to consider. Once you become part of the body of Christ, that you take the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, and then we become connected as brothers and sisters in Christ, part of the family tree. Now we have compassion like we didn't have before. Like, for example, what you did on our text thread is you introduced your friend Jim to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jim, it sounds like an amazing guy. His outlook on everything has an amazing heart posture for God. Despite challenges he's going through, he chooses to look at things through not only a godly filter, but a filter of mercy, not as a victim, but as somebody who stands victorious with wounds, not as a victim with open wounds, right? Victorious with healed wounds as opposed to a victim with open wounds.
Right.
But anyways, but that compassion that you had for Jim to introduce us to the text thread, we're being edified by Jim. I think, maybe initially you're thinking, well, Jim could use some lifting up because he's going through a difficult time, right? But Jim is lifting us up because of his faith. And then, so you can see the connectedness of being of the body of Christ. And that's the same exact compassion, the compassion that you have for Jim and now I have for Jim, and we, Tom and Pastor Eric, we all have for each other on that text thread. Now Jesus has that same exact compassion for us as he sits at the right hand of God. Just ponder that. We don't serve a vicious, mean God who doesn't care about us or tries to make our life miserable to pass some test to get into heaven. They're trying to guide us on a path away from sinful living, because that is where the devil entraps us. The devil observes us patiently, watching every move we make to see where we're the most weakest, so he can attack and pounce and hopefully drag us to hell with him. But thank Jesus that he's up there with us as a sibling, also as our Savior and sibling who wants to save us from that fate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's really good. I like it. And also Fire Doug, or on the Rumble, he just said, "Hey, Outcast, you are so correct to sit back and consider the relationship with Jesus."
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that.
100%.
Yeah. So just I ponder that a lot lately, and I want our listeners to do that too. When you're in your prayer life, you're not approaching the throne of some, mean God who wants to take your fun away. It's far beyond that. It is a God of love, and he wants to be reconciled with us. He wants to be in relationship with us. So he wouldn't have sent his son, and the son sees us as siblings. Yeah. He wants to save every one of us. It is very, it's a very encouraging thought. So approach his throne with confidence, because he loves you just like you care about the people in your life. He loves us the same way.
You know what you're saying there, what the world puts back to us is this very surface level, normie kind of just everyday busyness clouding us from actually sitting down and having that relationship that you're talking about. There's just so much garbage and nonsense that you have to filter through. And some people will never, ever be able to filter through that stuff because they're so stuck in the mire and the everyday nonsense of that competition of reaching us instead of us going out and seeking God and Jesus.
You couldn't be more right. This is the devil's domain, and it is a distraction factory. It is designed to keep your eyes off the prize, right? It is designed to keep you stuck in the muck and the mire and the fear and the anxiety and the worry and everything, all the trappings and the celebrities and the sports and the yada, yada. You keep going on, the news and the division and the hatred. That is all the carnal aspects that that the devil uses against us. So once again, I say this all the time on the show, but keep your eyes fixed on what is unseen and not what is seen, for what is unseen is eternal and what is seen is temporary. This temporary distraction is the devil's only hope at pulling you away from your salvation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more we fix our eyes on the unseen realms, the better off we're going to be, because you're going to recognize this is all a big joke. Like, you know, as your eyes have been opened, Jesse, you know, as your faith has grown, and mine too, you can't watch a movie without seeing all the planned distraction and all the planned efforts to tear you away from your faith, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Bon Moore over on Rumble, she says, busyness becomes an idol. And also Satan. Yeah, that's a good one. Satan wants us distracted, keeping it benign, boil the frog. Yes. Just so that we don't see it.
And the busyness is an idol thing. You know,
that's
some people make fear and worry into an idol. Right.
Yeah.
Some people look at what they've lost in this. They don't look at what they've gained in this world through a relationship with God. They look at all that they've lost or all that they've suffered under, and that becomes an idol. They focus on it day and night, and they just fester on it, and it makes them sick in their bones. So you have to actively pray and ask God to help you break your idols, whatever they are. It could be accumulation of stuff. It could be, you know, whatever it is. We all have idols. We all have them. But ask God to help reveal what those idols are. And I've asked him to break my obsessions, and I am less attracted to my stuff don't get me wrong, I got a house full of it. I got to figure out how to get rid of it, but I'm like getting over it. And I prayed about it. I asked for God to help me get over it. So sorry, I'm rambling.
Yep.
I know you gotta.
It's going to happen. Yep. It's going to happen. Oh man. So many good comments in the chats tonight too. I see Bon Moore and Fire Doug, and we have Music Lover and Jack Pine. Everybody's getting in there and getting busy with it tonight. So good to see you guys all in there having a good time. Outcast, I think that's the end of the show, brother. We got to get going. We have things we have to do, right? Things. I got a headache.
I had one all day.
I don't get headaches, and I just got one within the last hour and a half.
There's a low pressure system lingering around. They're tweaking the weather. They're doing something to us.
Oh, I was thinking it was these headphones, but normally those headphones don't bother me. Something just came over me. But okay, that's what I'm saying. I need to go drink some water or something. I think this is. I don't like this. Yeah, we're trying to end on time again. That's right, getting close to it. But Outcast. All right, listen, you guys, we got to get going. A big shout out tonight to our guest, Charlie Robinson. He is the author of The Octopus of Global Control. Go check that book out. Also, go to Macroaggressions. Listen to his podcast. That's a good one. And also activistpost.com. That's one of his websites. So much stuff out there, you guys. Also, hang on, Outcast. I got to scroll over to this one. And there we go. And, to you, Outcast, for bringing everything that you do to the show. Awesome knowledge, things that you're bringing up, and things that sometimes we don't always think about. You're bringing it. That's what I'm saying. You're bringing it in there. I like it.
Thank you.
Also, to all you supporters out there, you guys, thank you guys so much for doing what you're doing on a monthly basis. Right now, I'm going to go release the scratching. There it is on pill.net. So scratching has been released. Also, thanks to Music Lover, Jack Pine Savage, Trusty Turnip over there in the chats. Thank you guys for being mods out there tonight. Having a good time with that. Let me check see if we have any gold pills or any Rumble rants, any of that kind of stuff. And no, we don't. So listen, please, you guys, if you like what you heard tonight, leave us a 5-star rating and review over on iTunes and Spotify, CastBox, or any of the other major podcast platforms that you listen to, so that we can reach more people just like you guys out there. All right. please consider becoming a sponsor of the show if the situation fits. If not, just tell all your friends that we're out here doing good stuff. Don't forget, join us live here every Monday night, 7 p.m. till about 9-ish, right? Something like that. And next week, don't forget, JT follows JC. You guys see him everywhere over on Instagram and where else he at? He's on YouTube. You know what? Last time he was on, he took our segment of this show when he was on over and he put on his channel on YouTube. It's got a bunch of comments on there and 1 million views. Outcast. Well, 9,000,
really?
almost 10,000 views. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to get with him and take it and share it on ours so that it's out there too. Since our YouTube channel's so small right now because we just started 3 weeks ago, but he's gonna give us a boost on that. So that's pretty good. So check that out. Maybe I'll send it to you guys and you guys check him out. JT follows JC. And just type up Dangerous Info Podcast and you'll see that video pop up. So it's a good one. I believe that's it, you guys. Yeah, we've come to the end of the show tonight. We love you guys. God bless and stay dangerous, brothers and sisters. Stay dangerous.